My marriage to Lissa was everything I had ever dreamed of. We met young, built a future together, and even started thinking about a family. It wasn't always easy, but we made it work. I worked long hours to provide for us while she took care of the house and made everything feel like home. We had our shared disagreements, but every relationship does. I never thought it would go this far, but slowly, things began to change. It started small, a slight distance, a shift in her behavior. She became more distant, colder. Her late nights at work turned into late nights out. When I asked about it, she'd give me excuses. Just work stress, she'd say. Busy with the girls. I wanted to believe her. I wanted to trust her. But deep down, something didn't feel right. It wasn't until I started noticing the little things that I couldn't explain away. Her phone going off all the time, but always face down. The sneaky glances she'd throw when a certain number flashed on the screen. The sudden trips she'd take without telling me. There were always excuses. I need some space. I'm just hanging out with friends. But I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. So I did something I never thought I'd do. I followed her one evening. My heart raced as I trailed her car, the same path she had taken so many times before, until it led me to a hotel. I sat in my car, watching as she walked in hand with a man I didn't recognize. That moment shattered me in a way I didn't think was possible. I had just watched my wife, my partner, walk into a hotel room with another man. I waited for what felt like hours before she finally left. I had to know. I had to confront her. When she arrived home, I asked her point blank what had happened. The guilt in her eyes was undeniable. She tried to deny it first, but I already had all the proof I needed: texts, phone records, photos. I had caught her in the act. She broke down crying. It was a mistake, she pleaded. It didn't mean anything. But it wasn't just a mistake. She had been seeing him for months. I could tell she was still lying, and the truth hit me like a ton of bricks. She had cheated on me, and to make matters worse, she was pregnant. I couldn't believe it. The woman I had loved, the one I had trusted, had gone behind my back, and not only betrayed me emotionally, but now she was carrying his child. It felt like the world was spinning out of control. And then, when I thought things couldn't get any worse, she made her request. "Please," she said, her voice trembling. "I don't want this baby to grow up without a father. I need you to help raise it. I need you to be there for me. I know I made a huge mistake, but we can fix this. You can still be a father to this child." I was stunned. She wanted me to raise her lover's child as my own. "Are you serious?" I asked, barely able to keep my composure. "You want me to raise the baby of the man you cheated on me with? After everything you've done to me, you think I'll just step in and play the father?" "No, it's over." But she wouldn't let it go. She begged, cried, and even tried to manipulate me with guilt, telling me I couldn't let the baby grow up without a father. But all I could see was the betrayal, the lies, and the utter disrespect she had shown me. There was no way I was going to play pretend. The truth was, I was done. I couldn't stand to look at her anymore. I couldn't be the man who would raise another man's child, especially after everything she had done. So I made the hardest decision of my life. I filed for divorce. The divorce proceedings were brutal. She fought me every step of the way, trying to guilt-trip me into forgiving her, into accepting the baby. But I couldn't. She had broken my trust beyond repair. She had destroyed everything we had built together. The court battle dragged on for months, but in the end, the judge sided with me. The court ruled in my favor, and she got nothing. No alimony. No property. She was left with nothing but the consequences of her actions. I couldn't believe how far things had fallen. But I had no remorse. She had made her choices, and now she had to deal with them. When the final judgment came down, I couldn't even look at her. Her face was a mask of anger and desperation, but I couldn't be moved. I walked away with everything, my dignity, my peace, and my life. I didn't just walk away from her. I walked away from the person I had once thought she was. The woman I had married was gone, and in her place stood someone who was willing to betray everything for selfish gain. After everything was settled, I never looked back. I packed my things, changed my life, and started anew. She tried to reach me a few times, begging for forgiveness, asking if I would reconsider raising the child. But it was too late. I had made my decision, and there was no going back. I'd learned the hard way that some lines, once crossed, can never be uncrossed. She thought she could manipulate me into forgiving her, into accepting the baby. But I wasn't the man she thought I was anymore. I had found a new strength within myself, a strength I didn't even know I had. And as I moved on with my life, I realized that walking away was the best decision I could have ever made. I was free from the lies, the betrayal, and the hurt, free to rebuild my life on my terms, without her. And no matter what she tries to do, I know one thing for sure. I'll never let anyone walk all over me again.